and welcome along to part 2 of Rover's Railway. Can I just start by saying a big thank you to the dozens of comments that I had on part 1. I'm glad you enjoyed what you saw, and some of the comments were quite funny, so thank you very much for that. It's certainly given me an inspiration to carry on with this project, so here we are with part 2. Now, in this particular episode, I'd like to show you in more detail all about the 5 stations that we have, and also the 2 control panels. So, without further ado, here's a look in detail at the 5 stations on this layout. Welcome to Rover Central. Let's start with this station because this is the largest station with 5 platforms and they're all bays. The shape of the layout was determined by the access issues that we had in the loft. There is always need for access to the stairs and also to the outer areas of the loft for such things as the boiler and suitcases for going away, etc. The station itself, Rover Central, could not be extended because then it would get in the way of the stairs access. And that is why all 5 platforms had to be bays with no through roads. And of course that creates another problem because all the departures from this station can only go in one direction, anti-clockwise, or the up direction as we call it here. Consideration has been given to having a viaduct from platform 1. So where you see the EMU resting at the moment, that is platform 1. Trains would leave there, rise on an incline and curve around to join the down east line at Pastures Lane. But it's a big task, it takes up much access space that is required, and it would also require a device such as a reverse loop module to combat the conflicting flows of electric current. So, at the moment, some departures turn back in the bay platform at the first station they reach, Westfield Station. Locos and units awaiting their next turn of duty can also stable in the Vanton depot. This is Westfield Station. It has 2 through platforms and centre through roads for non-stopping trains. It also has a unique bay platform. This bay platform also serves as the entrance to Rowley Drive depot. As I mentioned in part 1, the depots were originally intended for the storage of locomotives and units in between running sessions. But I soon came to realise that with the dusty atmosphere that you get in the loft and the wide range of temperatures from getting pretty cold to getting pretty hot, it was a good idea to actually store the locos and units away after each running session to protect the motors. So now they're just used for carriages or sometimes wagons. And welcome to Pastures Lane. Now this is another station that has a unique design due to the layout and also because of access issues. You'll see from the diagram that we actually have to squeeze the layout in at this point to have access to the stairs and for the access issues elsewhere in the loft. Trains running on the clockwise loop are known as down trains, and they will run through the nearest and the furthest platforms on their run round. Now, to help differentiate between the different down platforms, the nearest is known as down east, that's platform 4, and the furthest is down west, that's platform 1. Anti-clockwise trains pass through the inner platforms as up trains. So, up west and up east. So as you can see, there is partial development already at this station. Bicycle racks, various bits of furniture on the actual layout. We even have a tube map on here, which you can see, book stand, and I've adapted the bridge. It was just a normal straightforward bridge, can't remember where it came from, but I've actually sawn gaps in so that we can get in and out of the booking hall onto the bridge. I actually also have started to make a road bridge to go across as well, which in due course hopefully will have fencing and also be lined out like a normal road would be. So that's Pastures Lane for you. The next station on the up loop is Heath Road. The distance between Pastures Lane and this station is the shortest between any two stations on this layout. The station is a single island platform design with passing loops on the outside of the platform tracks. Large buildings at two stations on this layout were made from Metcalfe kits. However, this station building is a super quick kit. Here at Rover Foss, it was originally just two through roads with two bays and a layover siding. Having given it some thought though, I realised that this could hamper the flexibility of working the layout when a working timetable is put in place, should I ever get that far. So platform 3 was changed from a bay platform to a through road. Now the up road, that's of course the anti-clockwise direction, has two platform faces here. But in these days of central door locking, I guess that only one side would actually be used for lighting or loading the train. A bit like Finsbury Park, for those who know the station, the outer suburban platforms have two faces, but they only ever use one for the doors. There is also a layover siding even in the middle, and still there is a platform 4 here, as well as the platform 3 that's already been mentioned. While I'm here, by the way, just want to have a quick word with you about the low level that I have on this layout. That's this bit down here. This is what you would call a glorified fiddle yard. Now, most layouts that I've seen have a fiddle yard of some description. So what that means is that there's a piece or a section of the layout off scene where you can store wagons, carriages and even locos. And they're usually a dead end, but not always. Now this one is like a glorified fiddle yard because it goes round in a continuous circuit. It mimics the shape and the route of the higher level, and so therefore I have a continuous run of dozens of feet. So it can serve two purposes. It means I can either have a train or a loco running down here, say for instance one that's running in and needs to be left alone for quite a while so it doesn't get in the way of the stuff going on the high level. It can also be used for storage. Now the low level fiddle yard has 4 sections or 4 groups of sidings, 2 for carriages and 2 for wagons. And because it is a glorified fiddle yard, there'll be no scenery, no ballasting, No signals and no stations on this part of the layout down here, purely as a storage or running in area of the layout. So Rover's Railway has two control panels, or boxes, signal boxes if you want to use the correct parlance, an east box and a west box. An overambitious project, do you think? Maybe, but still viable if I can get the grandkids involved. So this is the idea. East box is the main control panel on this layout. It can control every point on the layout on both the high level and the low level, together with two colour light signals so far installed. It will also control all future colour light signals that are installed on the layout. By the way, there will be no home or distance signals on this layout using mechanical arms, just current colour light signals. That's really a preference of mine. So perhaps it's not surprising that this panel has, so far, 82 levers and one switch. Each lever is wired to a corresponding point or signal via some tubing, which might look a little familiar. Each point or signal has a designated number, shown on the lever and on the point. Incidentally, the suffix C denotes that it is a coacting point. That is, of course, two points that form part of the same crossover, and they work in tandem with each other, as is demonstrated here. To help locate a particular point on the layout, there is also a track plan on display in the box, showing the high level east, high level west, low level east and low level west, showing every point and its reference number on the layout. The locos and the units on this layout are controlled from this Gaugemaster Prodigy Advance. This is the base unit, and this is the actual controller where you can control the different speeds, lights and various other functions that you can do with DCC these days, because this whole layout is DCC. But also we have a walk round unit here. Now of course this is battery operated, so I can go to any point on this layout and control any of the traction on this layout simply by switching this on and doing the programming and controls as I would normally do sat here. To assist with remembering the operating code for each loco or unit, that is the number that I have to enter in the control unit to make sure that the commands go to the right loco, I have a folder with all the details of the operating numbers and other operating features as well for each particular loco or unit. I also have the operating number fixed to the underside of each piece of traction. You may notice in most cases the operating number corresponds with something to do with the class or number of the loco or unit. And the bell? No, it's not for summoning another cup of tea or another can of beer from the good lady downstairs. That was a subscriber suggestion. I did like that idea, by the way, thank you. The original plan was to have some kind of bell communication between the two boxes, similar to what you have in signal box bells. But I'm not sure if this idea would have worked, so at the moment I've temporarily shelved it. One job that certainly needs doing is to tidy up the frame of the panel, but still leave access for future wiring installations for signals that still have to be installed. Welcome to Westbox. Now this box is a lot smaller operation than Eastbox and was constructed with the idea that a second signaller could sit at this location and control all the signals and the points that they could see on the western end of the layout, which is this half of the layout of course, but also be able to have the box switched out and have the whole layout still operated from Eastbox when necessary. As it is situated at the extreme western end of the layout, it is near impossible to see train positions or movements taking place in the eastern half. That is why this panel was built just for this end. There are 41 levers here at the moment, that's exactly half the number of Eastbox, with the same reference numbers, track plans and box instructions as there are for Eastbox. Well, I hope I gave you a good insight into the stations and the control panels, boxes that adorn this layout. In the much shorter part 3 of Rover's Railway, I would like to show you the box instructions folder in more detail, as well as the operating diagram and the working timetable that I've made a start on. The phrase spinning plates comes to mind, as you'll find out. Then in part 4 I hope to tackle some of the repairs that need doing, such as sluggish locos, non-working points, and the disco carriage. So please continue to follow this long journey, and if you haven't already, please like, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I will see you again soon. I'll say bye for now and leave you with some more clips of trains operating around this layout, starting with the rhythmic sound of an electrical multiple unit running over jointed track. I quite miss the sound of clickety-clack.